All right, as a preliminary matter, my name is Samantha Holt, Town Staff Conservation Agent for the Newbury Conservation Commission. Permit me to confirm that all members are present and can hear me. Conservation Commission members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Bob Connors,
Yes.
Brad Duffin,
Yes.
Diane O'Brien,
Yes.
Mary Rimmer,
Yes.
Peter Pecos,
Yes.
and TJ Conti is not here, but you said he's going to be here?
Yeah,
Okay.
he should be calling in. I know.
Okay.
I know he's around.
All right. Good evening. This May 16th open meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with the act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, which extends the governor's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law until March 31st, 2025. This order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location and allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that attendees are participating by video and/or telephone conference, and the recording will be available on the Newbury Access YouTube channel. Meeting materials were provided to the commission members prior to the meeting for review and were posted to the Conservation Commission webpage for public access. Before we turn to the first item on the agenda, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. Proponents will be given 10 minutes to present. More time may be allowed at the discretion of the chair. After they conclude their remarks, we will go down the list of commission members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, and motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, for all attendees, except commission members and staff, please remember to mute your computer using the mute button or your phone using *6 to toggle mute and unmute when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Please be aware that video participants can see you and that you should take care not to screen share your computer unless you have been allowed to do so. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. For any responses, please wait until the floor is yielded to you and state your name before speaking. If commission members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself when you wish to speak. There will be an opportunity for public comment and questions during public hearings. After commission members have spoken, we will afford the public an opportunity to comment and or ask questions as follows. I will seek questions and comments at the appropriate time through the Zoom raise hand function. For video conference participants, to raise your hand, hover over the bottom of the Zoom window below the photo gallery and click on the yellow hand that appears. If you don't see a yellow hand, click on the participants button. A list of participants will open and display on the right. At the bottom of this participant area, you will see an option to click on a raised hand button. Please ensure your name is fully and correctly displayed on the participant list. You may rename yourself by using the more function next to your name. It's like TJ just came in. For telephone participants, to raise your hand in a Zoom meeting, hit *9 on your phone's keypad. We will then allow questions and comments from members of the public who have raised their hands in the order in which they appear listed on my screen based on when the function was selected. Each participant will be called upon to provide his or her name and address or affiliation and will be afforded 3 minutes to make comments. More time may be allowed at the discretion of the chair. Proponent or commission members will have the opportunity to reply as needed. Your hand will be lowered when you have been given the floor for your questions. We will then continue down the list of those in the raise hand column and again afford time for responses as needed. All participants are reminded that only matters which fall into the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission may be discussed. The chat feature has been disabled for this meeting, and everyone is expected to conduct themselves in the same manner they would in an in-person meeting. Disruptions that impede operations of this commission will be addressed once by the chair and should be acknowledged by the disruptor. Further disruptions may result in complete removal from the meeting with no readmittance. Vulgar or obscene actions or comments will result in immediate removal from the meeting with no readmittance. And finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote.
Okay, well, thank you, Sam. Welcome, TJ. Obviously, we just did all the preamble and all that stuff. All right, let's get started. Upcoming meeting dates. Our next meeting is June 6th, followed by June 20th. And a reminder, new meeting start time of 6 p.m. beginning July 1st. That's gonna, I think that's gonna work out good. See how that works. We can always change it back, guys, if it becomes a challenge. Okay, meeting minutes. We have meeting minutes for April 4th, April 18th, and May 2nd. I'll take these one at a time. So on the April 4th meeting minutes, are there any comments, concerns, or corrections to the draft minutes as presented? Take a minute to look at those. Okay. Hearing no questions, is there a motion to approve the April 4th minutes as written?
So moved.
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Sure thing.
Okay. Roll call vote. All in favor, say aye. Mary,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
TJ,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, is there, let's review the April 18th minutes. Any comments, concerns, or corrections to the draft minutes as presented? Hearing no questions from the members. Is there a motion to approve the April 18th minutes as written?
So moved.
Do we have a
Second.
second? Great, thank you. All those in favor, say aye. Mary,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
TJ,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Is there a motion to approve the May 2nd minutes as written?
So moved.
Do we have
Second.
Second.
a second? Okay, roll call vote. All in favor, say aye. Mary,
Yes.
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
TJ,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. All right, next order of business, certificate of compliance, DEP file number 0500795 for 94 Northern Boulevard. And it was for work to construct a second floor addition and replace an existing deck. Sam, can you provide an overview on this project and a recommendation on this matter?
Yes, so when I first got the call for this one, I went out and looked. Unfortunately, this is another one that we don't have any record for. The only record that we have was the recorded order of conditions. I did go back and look through some aerial photos, some historic aerial photos, as well as the building file from this time. And it appears that the work was for the construction of a second floor deck. This construction of a second floor addition and replacing the existing deck. And from what I can tell, it looks like all of the work was done in compliance with what was approved. So I would recommend a complete certificate for this one.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Questions from the mayor, the members? Mary, any questions for Sam on this one or on the project in general?
Yeah, I'm looking at the aerial. I can't, did the original notice of intent talk about, or the original order of conditions talk about a shed or anything? This looks like there's an accessory structure on the property. Is that older?
It didn't, but when I was looking back through all of really old aerial photos from before this, from before the order of conditions was issued, it looks like the shed's been out there pretty much for as long as the house has been there.
Okay,
But I didn't look like there was anything under the order of conditions or the building file that said that anything was being done with the shed that's out
Yep.
there.
it looks like it's at least since the 90s from the
Yeah.
aerial that I just looked at. Okay, I have no other comments.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Pete, any questions on this one?
No questions.
Brad, any questions on this one?
No, good, thank you.
Thank you, Brad. TJ, any questions?
None here.
And Diane O'Brien, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
I sound like a talk show host here. I've been a long
Gonna make
day.
us cry?
Yeah. I have no questions. Sam, any follow-up comments on your part?
Not for me.
Okay, go ahead, Mary. Any questions?
I was gonna make a motion.
Oh, okay. We'd welcome a motion.
I'd make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 94 Northern Boulevard.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank
Second.
you. Okay, roll call vote. All in favor, say aye. Mary,
Yes,
TJ,
Aye.
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. All right. So we have a enforcement order for 18 Fordham Way, Blue Inn. It's an administrative enforcement order issued for unpermitted replacement of stairs, providing access to the lower beach area. Sam, Sam will give us an update on this. Basically, the DEP rescinded or revoked the certificate of emergency certificate, and this seemed to be the easiest way to go forward. But Sam, why don't you bring the commission up to speed on this one?
Right, yeah, so we got a letter, or I got a letter in the office last Monday that DEP was revoking the emergency certificate issued for the stair replacement. Unfortunately, that means that the work that was done was technically a violation of the WPA. So we did I issued the administrative enforcement order. In the letter from DEP, they specifically stated that Mr. Guthrie would need to get an order of conditions within 60 days. But unfortunately, with our local schedule, that meant that he only had 3 weeks to get his application in, which is a pretty short amount of time for anyone. He did talk to Tom Hughes, who unfortunately was dealing with COVID a little while ago and is behind about a month on work. He was willing to take on the project, but he didn't think he was going to be able to meet that May 30th filing deadline to get in for the June 20th meeting so that we could meet that 60-day deadline. I did reach out to Jill Provenzel with DEP last week, and she got back to me. I got the written confirmation from her today that DEP is okay with doing a 60-day deadline to file rather than to get the order of conditions. So the original administrative enforcement order that I issued reflected a deadline date to file as May 30th. I have a revised enforcement order for you guys in the Dropbox that I just did today. The exact same thing, except it reflects a filing deadline of July 8th, which Tom believes he is going to be able to meet at least well within that. He thinks he should be able to get it in sometime in June. It was just getting it in for the 30th was going to be tough. So right now we just need to get the enforcement order ratified, and I can send that out to him and they'll have their file in hopefully within the next month or so.
Okay, why don't we see if we have any questions? Mary, any questions in this one for Sam?
You're on mute, Mary.
I'm just curious, like, why we need to take action. It feels like DEP already stepped in. So is that something that they recommended that we do?
Yeah, it was in the letter that they sent. Basically just said if any work is being done or has been done, it may constitute a violation. And because the work was completed by the time we got the letter, it did technically constitute a violation. And I know they typically like to see some sort of record of that, that a violation or that an enforcement order has been issued to mandate the filing of the notice of intent.
But I guess I'm just saying that, you know, they weren't in error when they did it and the work was done. They weren't in violation. They weren't in it's retroactive violation in this case, according to DEP. And so it feels like they've taken over the enforcement on it, and we don't. I mean, it's fine if we do an enforcement order too, and it I don't see any downside to doing it other than it seems unnecessary that DEP's already taken enforcement action essentially by sending this letter and taking it out of our hands. So
Yep.
either way, I'm okay if we want to ratify it as Sam has described. It just seems like, you know,
We're doing what we decided on the emergency cert originally, Mary, which was
Yeah.
have them come in and do a post filing.
it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So saying that they're in violation is, I don't know, seems a little unnecessary at this point since DEP already did it, but that's fine. That's my 2 cents on it.
Okay, well, let's see, Pete, any thoughts on this one?
I don't, but I have a question with regards to what's been restored already.
Yes, the work was completed, I think, within a day or two of when we issued the emergency certificate.
Right, no, it's not the stairs, it's the sand. Was there a permit pulled to get equipment to move sand down there? Is there supposed to be?
Well, they didn't use equipment to finish the project, Pete. It was that I'm aware of. I didn't see that.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at imagery that, is pretty extensive from what we started with versus what's, kind of ended up. And there was a lot of sand moved. And was that moved all by hand?
Yeah,
They had to dig out the old stairs, apparently.
Mhm.
He
Yeah,
said there
No,
was
no.
machinery.
What's that?
I think he said there was machinery at the last meeting.
Yeah, Ryan
Okay.
did say that they had, to get the original stairs out, they needed to have machinery on the beach, or they brought machinery out onto the beach to remove the stairs. Because they were partially buried underneath the sand from the winter.
So then they use that machinery to then move sand around after that.
I don't
Yeah,
know if
they-
they used it after.
I don't think so.
It didn't seem to be an issue, Pete, when we got involved. There was no piles of sand. Everything seemed to have been in
Yeah.
order.
Well, I know it looks beautiful now.
Yeah.
And so when we looked at the original images, there's visible rock, which is no longer visible. It's gently smoothed over at a nice grade. And I didn't know if the ocean did that, or if that was done by shovel, or if that was done by some other instrument.
Yeah, you
Just a
know,
question.
yeah, no, it's a good question. A lot of the rocks were covered from windblown sand. But now in front of our area on Annapolis Way, we had a couple of those big tides. It actually seemed to have stripped the sand off of our rocks, but other areas south of us, it's either covered or there's some partial exposure, but I'm not quite sure what went on down there, to be honest. But
That was the question. It just
yeah,
looks
no,
well manicured now.
okay, thanks, Pete. Brad, any comments on this one?
No, other than, I agree with Mary. I think that this is, although I understand the administrative portion of this, and DEP overruling our emergency permit, I think it's a little heavy-handed by them, and agree with Mary that they should take it then at this point.
Thank you, Brad. TJ, any comments on this one?
Just a question, with DEP taking over that, anything we do, would they oversee that anyways? So whatever we do, it doesn't matter, or?
The way I see this, and Sam, chime in if I'm incorrect, what DEP did was revoke the emergency certificate that we issued. So now technically, there is no controlling document on this matter. Had they not intervened and just urged that we got it, basically, they're making us do what we already had asked the applicant to do anyway, but so DEP didn't take the project over, they just revoked the emergency certificate. Is that correct, Sam?
Right, yeah, so basically they overwrote the emergency certificate, made it invalid. And then just kicked it back to us saying that they have to file at the local level, they have to get all of the permits and everything at the local level, but DEP has not taken it over. I do want to note though that, I guess this is kind of in support of Mary's comment, that the email that I got from Jill this morning, she did state that while DEP was agreeable to giving them 60 days to file rather than just to get to the order, if the filing is not completed within 60 days, DEP would be exploring their enforcement actions or enforcement measures at that point. So they'll be keeping an eye out for it as well. So, and again, the enforcement order was basically just an administrative thing, just to get some paperwork and get it back on the agenda and whatnot. I have no problem with it not being ratified, because basically at this point, whether you guys ratify it or not, they have to do the filing anyways. And if they don't, DEP is going to come down on it.
Thank you, Sam. Diane, any comments on this one?
Just one quick one. We had talked before about them, if they were gonna submit an NOI, would it be for like future maintenance as well, rather than just the work that they've already done? So if they're gonna go through the whole trouble of getting Tom and submitting the NOI, can they do that for the future as well? As opposed to just going back and saying, this is what we've already completed and approve it? I mean, it might be worth their while.
You know, we've asked for maintenance plans in the past. It more attributable probably to trails, but I think this would be something we could ask for as well, or make a suggestion.
That would
With
be
Tom,
something Sam would do.
well, I think Tom does
Okay.
an excellent job, and I think, Sam, that would be the way to go to make sure if they're gonna have annual maintenance on this thing.
Exactly.
And so, okay, well, you know, team, I'm really not, I'm okay with leaving an emergency certain place. No, what it does is it just, someone looks at the file 5 years from now, and they're trying to connect the dots between the emergency cert, this letter from DEP revoking it, and then a 60-day gap where we're waiting for an order, a notice of intent. So I go along with just ratifying the emergency cert. I don't.
I mean,
Well,
the enforcement order?
Oh, yeah, excuse me, the
Okay.
enforcement, excuse me, Mary.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sounds
that would be my thought, just to keep the paperwork clean. All right, any other questions? And Sam, any other follow-up on you for this one?
Not from me. I think either way
Yeah,
would be fine. I can see both sides of it, having the paperwork trail and saying, you know, the letter from DEP is enough to. So it's,
Well, you know
Just-
what?
Just attach the letter to the enforcement order, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, so is there a motion to ratify the enforcement order that's in our Dropbox?
So
So
moved.
Do we have a second?
Yep.
Okay, roll call vote, all in favor, say aye. Mary,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes,
Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Abstain.
Diane,
yes,
and Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, now we
Um,
have,
Can I just pop
yeah,
in?
yes,
Bob,
yes,
I'm sorry.
certainly, Mary.
Unfortunately, I have to hop off the meeting right now.
Okay, Mary,
We still have a quorum, it looks like, so,
we're good.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you,
bye,
Mary.
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 Okay, Sam, so we have 1719 10th Street. It doesn't look like we've got a file number yet, so what's the pleasure?
you guys are gonna love this because they have requested another continuance to our next meeting. So they've requested a continuance to June 6th. Attorney Doug DeShanes is working with them. He's working on getting everything done. He believes that he should be able to get everything done. I think he said today or tomorrow, I guess sometime this week, that he can get everything in. So they are looking for a continuance to June 6th until they can get all of that stuff into us and to DEP.
Well, that is good news, I guess. Is there a motion to continue the public hearing
So moved.
to June 6th?
Second,
So moved.
Do we have a second? Okay, all those in favor, Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
TJ,
Aye.
Diane,
yes,
and Bob Connors votes yes. All right, team, that basically takes us back to administration, staff reports and update. Sam, any burning bushes at 12 Kent Way we need to know about? I'm looking, we're at 7:25. I could close the gap of Mary's best meeting ever.
I'm thinking we're getting out of here before 7:30 because I got nothing for you.
Okay. All right, well, team, why don't we go around and ask if anyone has any parting words of wisdom? Brad, you have your hand up.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I was just wondering if we had any update on the CSO problem that we have in the town.
There is an interesting Senator Tar and our local state rep are working on the matter, and it's not just notification. It was
Thank you.
securing funding, and I was very happy to see that.
I did see that article in the local paper.
I
last-
haven't seen Bruce. I was going to follow up with him on it, but I haven't had a chance to see him. So Tim, I think the only change coming up is starting our meetings at 6 o'clock, starting at July 1st. So that, we'll see how that goes. All right, anything else? Pete, any comments?
All set.
Golf tips, nothing? Dog training tips?
Not this evening.
Okay. TJ, how about yourself?
All good.
Diane, any comments?
Nope.
Sam, any parting words for your commission before we move to adjourn?
Hope you all have a fantastic Tuesday night.
Motion to
Still light
adjourn,
out.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, do we have a
Second.
second?
Second,
All in favor? Pete,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
TJ,
Aye.
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Bob Connors. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye, Bob. Still didn't beat Mary.
7:26. 7:26.
Not good enough.
No,
Clo-
Mary's
Close
come
but no
back.
cigar.
All right, thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Sam.